Hi, Matt with Etrailer. Today we're going to be talking about the Malone AirFlow2 roof rack on our 2020 Subaru Ascent. Now this is going to be a great option if you're just kind of getting into roof racks and you need something that's going to be more affordable, but it's something that's going to get you started. So let's take a closer look at it. So we're going to have a lot of roof racks here at Etrailer, so that's why it's important to make sure you put your vehicle's information into our fit guide to make sure you're getting the right one, since they are going to be designed to fit certain vehicles and certain types of rails on your vehicles. Like the one we have today is designed for a raised rail. You can tell you have one or not if you can come over here and grab it just like I am. Now with a roof rack, what I like about them is they're going to save you space, because let's say you got some longer items like a kayak, some skis, anything like that. You could get a trailer to move that around, but that's going to add a lot to the back of your vehicle. Or even cargo carriers in general still add a lot of space to that footprint. This is just going to extend the total height of your vehicle, so as long as you're not going through any super low clearance areas, this is going to be great. Now when it comes to the Malone specifically, there's a few things I do like about this, and that is it is going to be super affordable, especially for what you get with this. Because a lot of roof racks out there, they're not going to have lock cores already installed, and this one actually has the tools integrated to the design, so you don't have to worry about losing those either. We're going to have a arrow style crossbar. These are going to be super nice because it helps reduce wind noise. And we're also going to have this T-channel here. That T-channel also has some weather stripping here, so it'll also help reduce wind noise. But what that's for is, let's say you don't want to use any of those clamp-on accessories, because sometimes they can be a little bit difficult to work with. You can do this instead just by peeling down that tab and loading up this way too. Underneath there, we are going to have the tower. It's a pretty simple design, so I'll unlock it real quick so we can kind of see what's happening underneath the hood. And there's that tool I was referencing earlier. This Allen key is going to be something we can come by over here and tighten everything up. So super simple, doesn't take too much to actually learn how to use it, and locks it back into place. Now underneath there, we're going to have this weather stripping, or not weather stripping, more this rubber molding we have. And this rubber molding does a really good job at preventing any wind noise, and it gives it a really good grip on top of here. Now if you're someone who's going on a ton of trips, a couple times a month or even more than that, a different one that I would recommend would be the Thule roof rack, because that one is a very premium style roof rack. But I've noticed that if you are using this a lot, this weather stripping of that molding can kind of peel off a little bit. So if you want something that's going to feel a little bit nicer and last longer, I'd probably go with that. Now let's get a couple measurements. The first one I want to get is going to be the distance underneath here. That's going to be about 4.5 inches, which is actually a ton of room for a roof rack. So if you have any larger clamps, you should be good. Definitely just watch out. If you're using your sunroof though, that expands up, that clamp could make contact with something. Now for the total height, it adds to your roof. I'm going to go from these rails. That's going to be about 2.5 inches, which is relatively low profile, so that's nice. I'd recommend though, if you're going under any low clearance areas, total height of your vehicle, add the roof rack to that, and anything on top of that, add that as well, so you know if you're going to make it or not. Now I did want to talk about the spread, and that's going to be the distance from one crossbar to another one. And right now, this is about 30 inches. But you can tell we have a lot more space past here, so this will work with most accessories out there. Just double check what your spreads are. Now for the overhang we have, this is also a decent amount too. That's going to be roughly around 4 inches. So if you have anything like a ski carrier or a bike rack, you'd probably want to have that more over to one side so it's easier to load and unload. So overall, if you're looking for a more entry-level roof rack, this is probably my top choice, especially since it has all those added features and benefits built into it. But if you're going to be using this constantly all the time, and you're someone who has owned a roof rack before, then I'd maybe upgrade to the Thule roof rack, just because the molding on that does last a really long time, and it is pretty easy to work with too. Now, if you guys do decide to go with this, let us know how it's working for you in either a comment and review, and show us what you're loading up on top of there. Now when it comes to the installation, it's going to be a pretty simple process, but we do talk about some tips to make it a bit easier for you. It's going to be the same process for the front and back crossbar, as you can see I already have that one installed. Now the parts that we are going to need is going to be the crossbar itself. There's going to be a tower on each side, and then we're going to have the end caps that go with it. There is going to be an Allen key connected to each one of these end caps per crossbar. So if you don't have your towers on here already, the process for putting them on are going to be these little tabs at the very top of here. These tabs are going to install on the underside of that crossbar, just like so. Should be facing this orientation where those lock cores should install like this, facing outwards. So just make sure you do that on both sides. We want to grab our end caps and install this at the very end of each crossbar. Just kind of match the contours up and it should install. Now we've had these down in the shop for quite some time and we don't have all four corners since we just use these for demonstration purposes. So I'm going to do mine a little bit differently. Since these do kind of slide around a lot, I don't want this to slide off and hit the top of my roof. So instead, I'm going to remove this side and I'll be able to control this clamp over here. Now when you're doing this, you want to make sure this is going to be far enough to grab onto your crossbars. So just loosen up that bolt inside of here with this Allen key right here. Once it can reach around that bar here, we'll just lower it down into place. And in my case today, I'm going to install this on the other side. We want to make sure this is going to be even up here. So there's a couple ways of doing that. One, you could just put it right next to this base or this centerpiece on our roof, or you could find a point of reference. So I could measure, let's say 3 inches away from there, just do that on both sides, just so everything's squared off and it's even. But we also want to make sure that our crossbar spread, the front of one crossbar to the front of another crossbar, is going to be compatible with our accessories. There's plenty of room on our roof today. We should be able to fit those needs. Then we'll come back over here with our Allen key and just tighten this down. The way I'm going to do it is I tighten it down enough where I have a decent amount of resistance on one side. I'll do that to the other side, going back and forth until this feels really tight. Now that it's fully tightened down, give it a good shake test, make sure it's not going anywhere, and then we can throw in our locking cap there. Actually lock it into place so that doesn't go anywhere either. Just make sure you do that for the other crossbar up here, and that'll pretty much do it. Just make sure it is in the right orientation with that thicker side facing forward, thinner side facing behind us. And then you can load it up with whatever gear you have and take it out for a ride. If you guys have any other questions, let us know here at Etrailer. And again, I'm Matt. Thanks for watching.